The house was small and quiet, almost too quiet for a boy who was used to hearing his mother's laughter echo through the rooms. Now, her laughter had grown faint, replaced by the sound of tired breaths and the weight of silence. At only 12 years old, he had learned to read the lines on her face better than any book. Her illness was not sudden. It had crept in slowly, taking away little pieces of her strength day by day. The boy often sat by her bedside, watching her hands tremble as she tried to hold a cup of water. He felt a heaviness inside, as though he were holding a balloon that kept deflating no matter how much air he gave it. There were days when she could hardly get out of bed, when even walking across the room felt like climbing a mountain. He wanted so badly to help, to take away the burden she carried. Yet, each time he tried, he felt the sting of his own helplessness. After all, he was just a child. What could a boy with no money, no experience, and no power do for an illness that even doctors struggled to ease? These thoughts circled in his mind at night as he lay awake, staring at the ceiling, listening to his mother's faint coughing from the next room. But even within this sadness, there was something in him that refused to surrender. His mother often told him that the heart always finds a way, even when the world says no. He held on to those words like a lantern in the dark. Sometimes he would imagine building something, a tool or a machine, that could give her comfort. It was just a dream at first, no more than scribbles on torn notebook pages. Still, every drawing, every small idea felt like a seed waiting for the right soil. At school, he was quiet. His friends talked about games and television, but his mind wandered elsewhere. He studied shapes, gadgets, and even old machines in the classroom, not because the teacher asked, but because his heart whispered that maybe, hidden inside all these things, was a clue to helping his mother. The world outside kept moving fast, but in his small home, time seemed slower, weighed down by the rhythm of illness. And within that stillness, the boy's determination began to grow like a fragile sprout breaking through stone. He did not know yet that his longing to ease his mother's suffering would set him on a path he never imagined. All he knew was that he could not sit still while she faded day by day. Something inside him told him he had to try, no matter how impossible it seemed. One afternoon, while wandering near the edge of town, the boy noticed an old man working in his garage. The space was cluttered with tools, wires, and half-finished projects. Curiosity pulled him closer. The man looked up, his eyes gentle behind thick glasses, and asked if the boy wanted to see how things worked. That moment would change everything. The old man, a retired engineer, quickly recognized the hunger in the boy's eyes, the hunger to learn, to create. At first, the boy was shy, almost afraid to share his thoughts. But when the man asked him why he seemed so curious, the words spilled out. He spoke of his mother, of her illness, of the nights he sat helpless, wishing he could do more. His voice trembled, but the man listened without judgment. Instead of telling him it was impossible, the man nodded slowly and said that sometimes the most powerful inventions begin not in laboratories, but in hearts that refuse to give up. From then on, the boy visited often. The engineer showed him the basics, how to use simple tools, how to connect circuits, how trial and error was the language of invention. The boy's first attempts were clumsy. Wires sparked, screws went missing, and nothing worked the way he hoped. Each failure stung like a reminder of his smallness. More than once, he wanted to give up, but every time, he remembered his mother's fragile smile, the way she hid her pain so he wouldn't worry. That memory pushed him back to the workbench. Slowly, the pieces began to take shape. He imagined a device that could help regulate her breathing, something light and gentle, not complicated like hospital machines. He sketched designs late at night, his small hands smudged with pencil marks. The engineer guided him, but never solved the problems for him. Instead, he asked questions that forced the boy to think harder, to see mistakes as stepping stones instead of walls. The boy began collecting scraps, old fans, batteries, small motors, anything he could find. He tested, failed, adjusted, and tried again. Each tiny improvement filled him with a quiet hope. The process was exhausting, but within that exhaustion was a strange joy. For the first time, he felt he was not powerless. He was building something that mattered. Days blurred into weeks, and with every visit to the garage, his confidence grew. The boy no longer felt like just a child. He felt like someone carrying a mission. He did not know if his device would work in the end, but the act of trying was already reshaping him. His sadness was slowly transforming into determination. as if the act of creation itself was healing both him and his mother in unseen ways. The day came when the device finally resembled more than a pile of wires and scraps. It was small, light enough to hold in 2 hands, with a gentle hum when powered on. To anyone else, it might have looked simple, unimpressive even. But to the boy, it was a fragment of hope made real. His heart raced as he carried it home, cradling it as though it were fragile glass. He placed it beside his mother's bed, his voice shaking as he explained what it was meant to do. She looked at him with tired eyes, filled with love but also concern. She did not want him to be disappointed if it failed. But when he switched it on, a soft stream of air flowed steadily, easing her breathing in a way she hadn't felt in months. For a moment, the room seemed to hold its breath with her, then released it slowly. She smiled, not the weak, forced smile she had worn for so long, but a genuine one, filled with relief. Tears blurred the boy's vision. He had dreamed of this moment, but seeing it unfold in front of him was overwhelming. His mother reached for his hand, her fingers still frail but warmer than before. She whispered that she was proud of him, that no invention could ever compare to the love that created it. In that instant, the boy understood. The device was more than a tool. It was a testament to love's ability to turn despair into action. The engineer came by later to see the result. He placed a hand on the boy's shoulder, saying little, but his eyes carried the weight of admiration. The boy had not just built a machine, he had built courage inside himself. The garage lessons had given him knowledge, but it was his heart that carried him to the finish. From that day forward, the boy's mother found comfort with the device, and the boy found strength in knowing he could change the world around him, even in small ways. He was no longer just the child sitting helplessly at her bedside. He was her son, her protector, her little inventor. The story did not erase her illness, nor did it promise miracles beyond what was possible. But it gave them both something precious: hope wrapped in wires, love humming softly in the air. And perhaps that was the greatest invention of all. Sometimes, the most powerful changes in life are not made in grand laboratories or with endless resources. They are made in small homes, in quiet moments, by those who refuse to let love be powerless. The boy's invention was not just a machine. It was proof that compassion can build miracles, even from scraps and dreams. May this story remind us that no matter our age or situation, the heart always finds a way to create light in the darkest of times. If this story touched you, please like, share, comment, and subscribe for more heartfelt stories.